There has been a succession of technical problems as well as foil damage for Isabelle Joschke on MACSF. Since last Thursday, Franco German Vendee Globe racer Isabelle Joschke has had a series of problems on the Imoca MACSF. After problems with her engine, Joschke has had a lot to do this weekend with a keel ram sensor problem, a tear in her mainsail, the breakage of part of her mainsail sheet track, but above all the breakage of her starboard foil. Despite all these problems, Isabelle Joschke is keeping her spirits up and has set about repairing and fixing the problems in difficult sea and wind conditions. The important thing now is to sail safely towards the next major cape of this round-the-world race, Cape Horn. Yesterday, Saturday, was a long and difficult day. Before daybreak, I noticed inconsistent keel angle figures, and I thought it was no longer canting properly. While trying to detect the source of the problem with Florian, boat captain of MACSF, on WhatsApp, I heard a loud, sharp, but very short sound. The boat heeled over a lot, and I thought I was reliving the breakage of my keel ram, damage that occurred during its Vendee Globe in 2020. But in fact, luck or bad luck, it was my starboard foil that had just broken. It snapped clean off. I barely had time to register my disappointment before a major part of the mainsail sheet track, the end, broke and my mainsail was starting to tear. I took advantage of a few hours of gentler conditions to repair the mainsail. The repair has held, and that is very good news. Then I replaced the keel angle sensor, which turned out to be the cause of my problem. I also installed a temporary system at the end of the sheet rail. Sailing on port tack has become tricky because the stability provided by the keel, without that, provided by the foil, is clearly insufficient to sail serenely. The speeds have dropped drastically. Today I was caught by a strong gust of wind. Fortunately, I was on the right tack, starboard tack, but given the state of fatigue of my boat, I chose to sail with the greatest caution, even if it meant letting my competitors go ahead of me. It is without a shadow of a doubt that I prioritize safety in this final straight towards Cape Horn. Since the start of the Vendee Globe, apart from the loss of a sail and one of its hydro generators, she has had very few technical problems. The boat is suffering, that's obvious. Isabelle was spared, but it's true that it's a lot to take in at once. The story started with the engine last Thursday. Isabelle felt that it wasn't working properly, and that, when it was in position to recharge the batteries, it would turn off. After an analysis by the mechanics, and thanks to the help of Maitre Koch, who had the same problem at the start of the season, it turned out that the problem came from a power regulator inside the engine that was completely corroded. Isabelle had to dismantle the upper part of the engine in order to access this part to clean and lubricate it. Thanks to work in collaboration with the technical team, the engine was able to return to correct operation, but which required a few adjustments in order to avoid relieving the engine. The crazy thing is that the engine is new, explains Alain Gauthier, team manager of MACSF and winner of the 1992 Vendee Globe. After spending hours in her engine hold, Isabelle had very little time to recover, and yesterday, Saturday, the chain of problems began. Then there were problems with the keel ram sensor, and, while she was working on it, she felt that something was happening with the foil. This foil, which dates from 2019, broke cleanly at the elbow. There was no impact or peripheral damage to the hull. The conditions were difficult, and the boat had been sailing on this tack for a long time. For the moment, we don't know why it broke. Without this foil, the boat was destabilized. In the process, a piece of the mainsail sheet traveler broke cleanly, and a tear appeared in the mainsail. The important thing for Isabelle was to secure all of these problems. She is now heading towards Cape Horn, in complete safety. It will then be time to do a complete check of the boat for the return climb up the Atlantic.
To have some sun. Wow. We're foiling nicely. Oh, the sea is so green. I wonder how deep it is here. 200 meters. And look, there's Advance going 19 knots. Charal doing 9 knots. Falkland Islands, I need to bear away a little bit to leave some to port. And we do between 17 and 20 knots. Here was Biostorm. He's probably here now. Still a bit ahead. Okay, need to bear away a bit. Wow, the first nice day since very long.
Partez. Bon bah voilà, là on a sorti d'une zone de calme, on est encore dans une zone assez calme, mais on s'en sort là petit à petit, donc ça c'est bien. Puis en plus aujourd'hui on a réussi à faire tout ce qu'on n'arrive pas à faire depuis l'Afrique du Sud. Tout bien rangé, tout vidé, tout checké, tout va bien à bord de tout commence en Finistère, Armor Luxe. Donc voilà, une petite panoramique parce qu'il y a eu aussi des Albatros, du coup on a eu le temps de les voir. Et là il y en a un d'ailleurs, avec clac clac clac. Je sais pas si vous le verrez là, mais il vole à ras de l'eau. Donc voilà, magnifique, magnifique. Ok. Et là, coucher du soleil, pardon, parce que et il est toujours là, notre pépère. Hop, voilà. Bah ouais. Bon là, c'est un peu. Là, on vient d'envoyer le Grand Genac, donc voilà. C'est un peu instable, mais bon, c'est pas souvent qu'on puisse venir ici par les temps qui courent. Alors, voilà, un panoramique qui fait plaisir. Voilà. Donc, oh merde. Alors là, excusez-moi, c'est le sando qui a. Voilà, petit coucher de soleil, petit panoramique avec Monsieur l'Albatros toujours là. Et voilà, c'est beau. Il faut bien des moments comme ça quand même, hein, parce que sinon, regardez les nuages là-haut, comment ils sont beaux. Voilà. Et voilà. Grand voile. Hop. Clac, clac, clac. Bon, bah voilà. Écoutez, bonne matinée pour vous, nous ça va être la nuit bientôt, et puis et attention aux fêtes. Allez, je vous embrasse tous, à plus, ciao.